Oh, hi guys. Welcome to the latest episode of Cricket Draft Insight. Just thought I'd have a little catch up. Might seem a strange time. We're halfway through game week 2. Game week 1, I did really well. Got about 1,700, nearly 1,800 points. Lots of contributions throughout. I think I've got a really good mix of, those players I like, my crew, but actually also good players and getting the balance right with all-rounders who are in the game. It was Sam Cook and Ben Code who didn't quite fire last week. Fair enough. One game where they don't take a bucket of wickets, that's going to happen. They've both bounced back already this week. I think 4 wickets each in the first innings. I went to see Yorkshire yesterday. Really great to see Jordan Thompson, who's not in my team, wasn't in the Yorkshire team last week. I could talk about Yorkshire. The balance of their side and how many options they've got for a long time. Great to see him back in the team. He took a wicket with the first ball of his second spell, I think, and just as is often the case with him, he just makes things happen and really sort of inspires those around him. And then Ben Code was in the wickets too. There was some really good fielding. Some good players in Worcestershire's team, but I don't think the balance is quite right there. But yeah, for me personally, hopefully Jordan Thompson will fire for me come the T20 Blast. But County Championship, it was Ben Code getting 3 or 4 wickets, which was great. Scored some runs too. Good to see because he did well the year before last. Not quite as well last year, but he can bat. Fergus O'Neill had done well for me the first week. The only other player who hasn't really fired at all yet is Josh Bohannon. And I just fear might be going round in circles with him. I've spoken a lot about a number of batters, and I'm going to come to that, who are like upward trajectory players. They average about 30, and I thought they were going up, and they have done. People like Carlson, even Tom Alsop, who's not one I've regularly picked, career average 34, but they've averaged 40 each of the last 3 years. Bohannon's going at risk of going the other way. He had the average about 47, and he's dropped to 43 now, and he's out for 5 in this game. Does have a good record at Old Trafford, and that convinced me as well. Three consecutive home matches at Old Trafford. So hopefully he can score some runs. But I just got a bit of a dilemma because in hindsight, you could say I could have tried and done something with my subs like last week, this week. There aren't many cheap options. What I want, just in terms of getting 11 players for game week 4, like I picked a squad of 15, one player from each team. And I'm struggling to get 11. And what I want is players who play game week 4 and game week 5. And there's only 4 teams don't play game week 6. We get 4 transfers, then 3 and 3. Something I made a mistake a year or 2 ago was I took some players out and I couldn't get them back in. Now, if we've got 4 transfers, fine. Fergus O'Neill's leaving, and I've got an eye on somebody to come in. But I want to identify players who are going to play game week 4 and 5. Miles Hammond is an obvious one. He's cheaper than Bohannon. Did well last year, missed out last week. We did get a 50. And again, just that mix of, I feel like he's one of my players, became one of my players last year. Max Holden is another very much in that upward trajectory band. Didn't quite pick up on him as I did with some others. He's averaging about 27 and he's ended up going to 3. He scored some hundreds, big hundreds. And I've said for a while now, quite an extreme run of making significant scores. Done well in T20s. We've seen it once or twice in England. He did well in the winter. Max Holden. And another one is Sol Budinger, Leicestershire. So quite a few left-handed batters. Budinger got some runs late last season, and you still thought with Rishi Patel, Ian Holland, is he going to be in the team? Then Rishi Patel's got injured. Budinger scored runs. He scored quick runs. Picked him 2 or 3 years ago and like 1 innings, but it just didn't quite come off. Great to see him getting a run. Hammond, Holden, Budinger are like all between about 6.2 and 5.3 million, I think it is. And they're players that play game week 4 and 5. Obviously, I might also need some bowlers. Brendan Doggett is one who I wanted this week. There's no need to change O'Neill, Code and Cook. All-rounders, somebody like Ben Green. Of course, Cameron Green is coming. Ollie Price at Gloucestershire. So I started with 1 player per team, and that's what I was very comfortable with. Very comfortable with my 11. I like to be involved in the games, have fun. Lots of players doing well, but we'll mix that up. I've got my eye on 1 or 2 overseas signings who are coming as well. But yeah, when you're making your transfers, you have just got to be careful for those upcoming weeks with less teams playing, and then not get yourself in a hole if you did take out players you really like that you then got to get back in, and it can cost you some points. So I hope you had an encouraging start to the season. I'll try and get some more videos out in due course. I'm already really excited about the T20 Blast. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Like County Championship is great, but it's just one or two teams when it comes to selection, like Yorkshire and Northamptonshire have some fascinating sides. Yorkshire with like the 3 different types of spinners they've got. Northamptonshire because they have so many like bowlers, people who can bowl in their top order batting. What do you do with the rest of the team? And I'm already sort of like, whatever happens in the T20 Blast, I'm picking Ben Green. I'm not picking Ben Green. I'm not making that mistake. Thompson, Zabe, Coles, Brooks, Chappell. Like, already we're going to be struggling on all rounders. I've already decided I'm not bothering with Ashton Turner and co this year. But yeah, some really exciting players there. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Lots of twists and turns in the county championship. Did I say got my eye on 1 or 2 players who are coming along? Because in terms of differentials, and a few people speak to me are very keen on their team having like differentials. I've already seen, Fergus O'Neill's gone up. Caleb Jewell, who is been trying to be quiet because I don't want to jinx anything. He's obviously started with 350s. I had Kieran Carlson and Safe Sabe have each scored hundreds. That was one of the things about week 1 for me. Coden Cook didn't fire, and I got 1,700, 1,800 points. Historically, my batting has let me down. I've had a couple hundreds, and Jules scored 3 quick 50s. So then with Coden Cook firing this week, I really want to get 2,000 points a game week. Talking to some of you, 500 points a day is something I kind of aim for. But obviously, by the time you get to day 4, like some games are over, some players are out of the game. Can't remember what I was talking about at the beginning of that sentence, but just some of the players. 1 or 2 players. Shall I say his name? No. I've got a dark horse rogue selection coming up. But one or 2 decisions to make this week because there isn't many like cheap options of the teams that are playing 4 and 5 that are guaranteed starters. And even if I tried to do a bit of tinkering with my subs, which I haven't got much money of last week, like over the course of a few weeks, a lot can happen with injuries and other players arriving and players just not getting picked, which is why I'm just contemplating whether Josh Bohannon, Matthew Waite scored runs last week in a defiant cause I've always liked, but he didn't look that great yesterday. I thought Ben Allison looked very good, actually. Quite a samey team, though. I don't understand the logic of 6 right-arm medium pacers not having a spinner. They don't have enough depth or quality to the batting. They're good players, but I just think some of the players on the bench should be in the team. It just doesn't add up. Just doesn't add up to me. But yeah, it's just that maybe I do need to take a couple of players out because I've basically got no money on my bench in terms of the options that are there to get some players in that are playing 4 and 5 before 4 transfers next week would get me 11. I don't mind. If I end up playing with 10, it's not the end of the world. Not spending points on transfers, but obviously you know what happens. Take Bohannon out, he scores 100 next week. I've had it before. Last year, took Bohannon out, he scored double 100. Year before, took Bell Drummond out, he scored 300. If I take Waite out, he'll score some quick runs and take a load of wickets. So it's that. Do I look to maximise points this week? Do I go a bit more? An eye on the tricky one, game week 4. We'll see. Anyway, just a little early season update. Really encouraging starts. I mean, I have been known to start well with 4 and then, plummet like an extremely heavy stone. But a very encouraging start to the season. What I was saying was O'Neill, Coden, Cook. Like I keep seeing teams, and that's their bowling attack. And like I just looked, some of you guys, your team, have got 6 of the same players, which is maybe a good sign, I guess. For me, it was at times been a little differentialish in the past, but obviously the likes of Higgins, Code, Cook, who I've picked for a while, obviously the popular players. O'Neill, Code, Cook have got, they've got the best bowling records out there, haven't they? Jack White's another one at Yorkshire, actually, and come late to the piece. He only averages about 24. Done really well and took a couple of wickets yesterday. Anyway, stop talking, Paul. Hope you're enjoying the start of the season. I wish you all the best for the rest of this game week if you're at the games or you're watching online, whatever. See you in the future. Thank you very much for watching. How's that?